The Kindertransport was a desperate effort to rescue Jewish children from the Nazis. During the 9 months prior to the outbreak of the Second World War in 1939, the United Kingdom took in nearly 10,000 children from Germany, Austria, Czechoslovakia, Poland, and the Free City of Danzig. The children were placed in British foster homes, hostels, schools, and farms. Often, they were the only members of their families to survive the Holocaust. One of those children was Beryl Gartner, who later in life told his story to BBC Radio. He told how he was living in an orphanage with other refugee children, and that one day the teacher announced that King George VI was going to visit their town. The next morning, all the children got up very early, put on their best shorts, and scrubbed their faces and knees to greet the king. There was a tremendous sense of excitement and anticipation as the children waited for the royal coach to appear, and suddenly there it was, turning the corner. King George, Queen Elizabeth, and the two princesses were waving to the cheering crowd. Everyone pressed forward on the barricades to get a better look, but 11-year-old Beryl didn't just push forward. He took an enormous leap, jumped clean over the barrier, and then he raced at top speed to the royal car. He jumped onto one of the running boards and he started banging on the door of the car. The car stopped abruptly. The king's bodyguards dragged Beryl off the car, and then the door of the car opened and Beryl found himself face to face with the king. "I see you want to say hello," smiled the king. Beryl looked into the eyes of the king, started to speak, and then burst into tears. "Don't cry now," said the king. "We're not going to put you in the Tower of London." "Oh," said Beryl, "Your Majesty, please forgive me for banging on your car, but please help me. You're the only one who can help me." "How can I help you?" said the king. "Your Majesty, I am a Jew from Germany. Through your kindness, I was brought here by the Kindertransport, but my parents are still in Germany, and I'm so frightened about what happened to them that sometimes I think I'll never see them again." Beryl burst back into tears again. "What is your name?" inquired the king. Beryl told him, and the king ordered an equerry to write down Beryl's name, together with the names and addresses of Beryl's parents, and then he said, "Well, let's see what we can do." He patted Beryl on the head and smiled. Beryl climbed down from the car and stood gazing after the car long after it had turned the corner into the next street. Beryl was sure he would be severely punished, but surprisingly the school didn't do anything until a few weeks later the headmaster called him to his office. Now Beryl sure he was for the high jump. The headmaster said, "Beryl, you made quite an impression on the king. In fact, he sent you a gift." The headmaster opened the side door of his office, and standing there were Beryl's parents. The Baal HaTanya teaches that the days and the weeks before Rosh Hashana, that the king is not in his palace. He's in the fields, he's in the villages, he's in the farms. He comes out to visit us. He's accessible. And at such a moment, we often stand there behind the barricades, behind the barriers we built for ourselves. We can't break through. We feel the barricades in our hearts. Jump through the barricades. The bodyguards may want to stop you, but the king wants you there. And ask him for whatever you want. Ask him to be reunited with your deepest self. And don't be afraid. This Rosh Hashana, when the king returns to the palace, you're going to jump onto that royal carriage. In Shemona Esrei, Rosh Hashana, we say 4 times, Uvachein. And the 4th one comes from the Uvachein in Megillas Esther. Esther taught us that you have to approach the king even when you're not called, even when you're not worthy. Jump through the barricades and, like Esther Hamalka, save the Jewish people. We've had a terrible year this year, but if we jump through the barricades and we petition the King of Kings, he can do anything. He can do everything. Just jump those barricades, open up your heart, and may all of us be sealed for a good year of bracha, hatzlacha, peace, and the coming of Mashiach.